Hello and welcome back to the channel. LC here. I know it's been a while since you guys seen this mug on the channel. I have to replace my camera, so going forward we should be pretty good on the camera front. Today we have a special Valentine's Day video. We will be covering Hank Moody's top 10 hookups within all of Californication. It was really fun to actually go back and analyze a lot of his relationships and the dynamics with them and kind of pick out, not necessarily the hottest hookups and stuff like that, but the ones I think really did a lot for his character. So we'll be kicking off the video right now. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications so that you don't miss upcoming content. We'll be having weekly videos going on for the foreseeable future until I run out of content. So I'm going to be doing this for a while. I suspect to be doing this probably at least for a year. So that's the goal, trying to do a video a week for the rest of the year. So let me know what projects you'd like to see in the future and hit me on Twitter. Let me know what you think about the projects. And without further ado, Hank Moody's top 10 hookups live now. Starting this thing off with a bang, we have Michelle Lombardo coming in at number 10. Playing the mysterious surfer girl that Hank meets for a chill session to smoke and listen to records, only to find out that he's been hit with the old slippity doodah and she's robbed him of said records. The two later reconcile in the season where her guilt gets the better of her and she returns to records. From their brief time together, their on-set chemistry is electric to say the least, easily landing her at the number 10 spot on this list. Coming in at number 9, we have one of Californication's very few recurring characters, Miss TRIXIE. Initially introduced as a working girl who Hank inadvertently hooks up with in a classic doing blow off a hooker's ass scenario, their subsequent encounters throughout the series, while not providing any immediate carnal pleasures for either party, result in a surprising mix of heart and understanding between the two characters. You know what? TRIXIE don't look that bad either. Moving on, we have our first honorable mention on the list, Laura. Hank's previously scorned lover turned sparring partner in both the ring and, oddly enough, the bedroom again, in what can easily be considered one of the series' most unhinged moments and giving us this classic line. Honestly, I think this hookup, more so than any other on this list, really set the bar for what audiences could expect in the raunchy side of the house for the series. Number 8 has to go to the one and only Miss SASHA BINGHAM. In the midst of Hank coming off his arraignment for his statutory rape case at the beginning of season 4, I know I can't be alone in thinking, how would this guy even approach a woman going forward, let alone get back to his previous status quo in the woman department? So when SASHA BINGHAM all but literally lays herself on a silver platter for Hank in the series premiere, I knew this dynamic had a potential to go somewhere throughout the season. Although somewhat short-lived due to Hank's rather unfortunate inadvertent penetration of her mother, SASHA, and I dare say her mother, easily earned this position at number 8. Slotting at number 7, we got CARRIE. Now, I'll keep it real with everyone here. Upon my initial viewing, I really disliked CARRIE's character, and upon my most recent rewatch, I really still don't like CARRIE. I think one of the main issues here is, opposed to her being a main female lead, her build-up and time spent with Hank seems relatively marginal with respect to the other main leads in other seasons. And it also just seemed really difficult to buy this on-screen chemistry. Add that to the fact that CARRIE was kind of for everybody, it knocks her down just a bit in the ratings. But my guy, it's Megan Good. You know she had to make this list. This is her in 2022, by the way. On to our next honorable mention, CARRIE. Now I know this is probably the furthest from most fans' favorite characters. I mean, she literally tried to do a suicide pact and ice our boy Hank. But in terms of general hotness and sex appeal, she easily ranks quite highly on this list. Not to mention that she puts a face to the sincere impact and consequences regarding Hank's whimsical nature when dealing with women.
This man's a monster. He likes to fuck women in the ass and then tell them that he just wants to keep it casual.
And showcases how actions, even though we may believe them to be insignificant, can come back and haunt us in a major way. And moving on to number 6, easily the most insane hookup in the whole series, and definitely one that could never leave the writer's room in 2022. That's Hank's hookup with the cooking show host Chloe METZ, which gave us this absolute gem of line delivery. While extremely short-lived, this hookup makes the list out of the pure insanity during the act itself. As this episode came to a close, it also did a great job of showcasing some of Hank's more noble attributes.
Because despite all evidence to the contrary, I'm a gentleman. You just don't do that shit. This is not Motley Crue behind the music.
And did an excellent job of illustrating his more compassionate and empathetic side. Okay, we're officially in the top half, boys. Let's see who makes the upper crust in the Hank Moody Hookup Hall of Fame. On to number 5. Now, I'm going to flirt the lines a little bit with the rule set here and include all 3 of these ladies in one group. Jill, Jackie, and Felicia, or as I refer to them, the college season trio. I found it slightly counterproductive to list each of these lovely ladies in their own number, as for the purpose of the plot and the narrative, they function as a single unit. While I'm slightly more predisposed to say Jackie and Jill as opposed to Felicia, I've always appreciated Hank's female counterparts that taught him something about himself and a bit about life, even if the lesson doesn't necessarily stick in later seasons. All three beautiful women's arcs are home to both many fans' favorite season and favorite episode in Season 3's The Apartment. This arc in many ways was the apex of Hank's womanizing, as a balancing act between the three of them is extremely entertaining to see unfold. Add Karen dropping by unexpectedly and it's just a recipe for grade A television. Rolling in at number 4 is everyone's favorite lady lawyer, better known as Abby Rhodes, Hank's defense attorney throughout the entirety of Season 4. Played in an extremely pragmatic yet tantalizing manner by guest star Carla Gugino, from their first character introduction, it's clear to see that the endgame for Abby and Hank would lead to the bedroom. However, Abby scores points for her attempts to keep business and pleasure separate, and trying against all odds to keep a man out of jail who is doing everything seemingly in his power to get himself there. The Big Three. Okay, now it's not really a secret that I wasn't the world's biggest fan of Season 7. However, upon my most recent rewatch as of this week, I gotta say I was definitely wrong on a few of the character fronts. Rewatching this season with a fresh set of eyes that hadn't seen it in over 2 years from my first initial binge, really allowed any preconceived notions of how I wanted the characters to behave and the series to end to just slowly melt away and allow me to enjoy the ride and the characters and narratives being laid out in front of me. One of the characters that benefited the most from this rewatch was Julia. Outside of being an absolute stone cold fox, it is Heather Graham after all. Her and Hank's slow build of will they, won't they, ends in a satisfying conclusion that kinda just worked for me oddly enough. While I'm not in love with the whole bait and switch with the Wrath pairing in the series finale, I mean look how awkward this kiss scene is. This is only one of 3 women I could actually see Hank being with in a long-term and meaningful manner. Okay, for our final honorable mention, this goes to everyone's favorite, Mia. Now I just couldn't bring myself to actually put her on this list due to the technicality that she is technically underage when her and Hank do the deed. While I could easily see Mia cracking most fans' top 3 lists with ease, I mean she's absolutely gorgeous and their actual hookup is quite legendary. Ultimately, between the spectacularly terrible decision making between both her and Hank that culminates in Hank being a convicted sex offender, I just can't justify any fucking or punching that might be worth that. So yeah, honorable mention is the best I got for you, Mia. And down to the final 2. Our runner-up is none other than Faith of Season 6 notoriety. Easily one of the best romantic interests for Hank throughout the entire show. This is the one courtship throughout the entire show that feels genuine and as close to real life that we can expect out of a crazy ass show like Californication. The dynamic between Faith and Hank is built upon in a relatively slow burn throughout the season, and with them both meeting from a place of grief after a traumatic event, their slow reliance and trust in each other is easily one of the most satisfying things in the entire series. If not for Julia, I think that Hank ending up with Faith would have been a satisfactory conclusion of the show if it had ended at Season 6. The chemistry here is very real, and this is one of the few pairings in the show that seems to have a genuine emotional core as opposed to just basic carnal desires. Overall, this pairing is one of the key things that makes Season 6 such a high watermark for Californication overall as a series. And coming in at number 1, drum roll please, you guessed it, Karen. Anyone who's watched the show or fan of the series likely saw this one coming from a mile away. Hank's defining, towering love affair throughout the entire series, his beloved baby mama, and the key to his internal anguish and salvation. Karen, in my opinion, is easily the most beautiful of all the candidates on this list and carries an almost regal quality to her that exudes class that no other character in this list can really contrast to. She may be some embodiment of Hank's own personal Madonna whore complex, as he seemingly can never find a way to keep things going with her in a steady manner without the ever looming of nuclear self-destruction for both him and Karen's relationship. Outside of her looks, I think one of the things that allows Karen to edge out the competitors on this list is a toxic love affair and chemistry that her and Hank share. I think this dynamic, more so than any on this list, speak to the real life scenarios that most of us have or will find ourselves in at least once in our adult dating life. Always in the back of our mind, the one that got away. The one we could never quite make it work with. Despite the fact that the love, the passion, the tenderness was all there, inevitably it seems like the intangibles, the unspoken words between both parties always seem to capsize this romance in one way or another. In the future, I plan on doing a video breaking down the dynamics of the Hank and Karen union, but for now, all I gotta say is what good is pointless hookups if you can have the love of your life? And that's all guys, thanks for checking out this week's video on Californication. Let me know what you guys want to see in the future, and let me know in the comments what your top Hank hookups are. As always, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any upcoming video or content, and I'll see you on the next one. LC signing out, peace.